The Forgotten Garden. Emma was a busy city lawyer, living in a bustling apartment in New York. She had built her life around success, and every day was tightly scheduled with meetings, deadlines, and emails. Her phone buzzed endlessly, echoing with calls and messages that kept her moving. She hardly had time for herself, let alone for anything outside her career. It wasn't until her grandmother passed away that she remembered her old family home in a small town, several hours from the city. A week after the funeral, Emma received a letter from the family lawyer. Her grandmother had left her the family house and a small plot of land surrounding it. "I left this for you," the note said in her grandmother's handwriting, "in the hope that you will find peace here like I once did." Emma felt a pang of guilt. She had barely visited her grandmother in recent years, too focused on her own busy life. But something about the letter made her feel as though her grandmother was calling her back. Curious and a bit restless, Emma decided to drive down to see the house. As she arrived, she saw that the house had aged, much like the memories inside it. The paint was peeling and the windows looked dusty. But what caught her eye was the garden. It was wild and overgrown, a mess of tangled vines and forgotten flowers. She remembered her grandmother's stories about the garden, how she'd once tended to it with love and patience, spending hours planting and nurturing flowers that bloomed every spring. Without thinking, Emma picked up a pair of rusty gardening gloves left by the door and began to pull weeds. As her hands worked, memories started flooding back. Summers she'd spent there as a child, helping her grandmother plant rows of lavender, roses, and tulips. Her grandmother used to say, "A garden is like life. It grows best when tended with care and attention." Emma hadn't thought of that phrase in years. Days turned into weeks, and Emma returned to the house every weekend. At first, it was just to clean up the garden a bit, but she quickly found herself getting lost in the peacefulness of the work. She began to enjoy the solitude, the quiet that allowed her thoughts to wander and settle. Her mind, usually so sharp and focused on work, found space to breathe. As she cleared away the weeds and planted new seeds, Emma discovered a strange peace. She wasn't checking her phone every minute. She wasn't worried about deadlines. Instead, she felt connected to the earth, to the plants that slowly grew under her care. And as the garden began to bloom, so did a part of her that she had forgotten existed. One evening, as she sat on the porch with a cup of tea, she felt a profound realization. She had been chasing success her whole life, but had missed the simple beauty of just being. She understood why her grandmother had loved this place. It was a sanctuary, a space where time slowed down, where life wasn't about achievements but about presence. Months passed, and Emma transformed the garden into a beautiful oasis. When spring arrived, the garden was alive with color, filled with the same flowers her grandmother had once planted. Emma felt as if her grandmother was there, smiling, watching her tend to the garden with the same love she once had. Finally, Emma decided to make a change. She left her high-stress job and moved to the small town, where she opened a small consulting firm that allowed her more freedom. Her life had shifted. She was no longer just a busy lawyer, but also a gardener, a caretaker of something precious and beautiful. As she looked over the garden, she felt a deep sense of gratitude. Her grandmother's gift had been more than just a house or land. It had been a reminder of what truly mattered, a chance to rediscover herself and to find peace in a world that often felt chaotic. Every morning, Emma walked through the garden, breathing in the scent of lavender and roses, feeling a sense of completeness she had never known before. She had found her own forgotten garden, not only in the land but in her heart, and for the first time in years she was truly at peace.